Patrick Cook here. Well, thanks for returning. We're going to continue with our discussion of the Mandelbulb3D software as we move along in our own animation of a Mandelbulb3D. Now, in the last session, I was spending a little bit of time talking about the automatic zoom, all right, and how you can manually take control of the zoom. Well, while we're here, let's also talk about two of these other properties that are related to your camera. One is called a far plane, and the other is called a field of view, FOV, field of view. Now, all right, let's start with the field of view. The field of view. Oh, matter of fact, let's get this up. Okay, let's talk about the field of view. So let me get my stylus going here. All right, here we go. So let's make this the camera. Now, the camera has what's called a field of view. A field of view might look something like this. And these are principles of photography. As a matter of fact, even the human eye has a field of view. Now, because of our peripheral vision, our field of view is actually pretty wide. All right, so you can think of a field of view as the degrees, left and right, by which the camera or your eyes would be able to perceive the visual objects. So this field of view is wide. So this might be, and I'm just kind of guessing, this might be, okay, let's 30 millimeter field of view. The millimeters is the measurement convention that they use for cameras. All right, I don't know if that's 30 or not. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the understanding how your field of view behaves to take in more of the scenery, or in our particular case, more of the fractal. All right, so we can with a low field of view value, we actually see more of the fractal. With a let's try something here. Let's try getting a red pen. With a narrow field of view, I don't know, let's call this 90 millimeters. We're going to see less of the graphic. All right, in other words, we see less. We have blinders on, we see less. So your field of view enables you to see less or more of the in this particular case, the fractal. And the field of view is actually quite powerful. Let me show you. Let me just clear this here for the next time we're done. Okay, so let's take a look at our graphic here. Now our field of view is 30, so that should be pretty wide. If I change this to 50, all right, I went from wider to less wide. And you'll notice what happened with my graphic. Let me just go back to 30, like that. All right, wider. Let's go to 50. All right, narrower. Let's go to 90. All right, I've really narrowed this in. Now, from a designer standpoint, a graphic design, a Mandelbulb graphic designer standpoint, you can do some really interesting things with this field of view value. If I get like really crazy and do like 10, look how wide of a view that is. That's so wide. And I lose a lot of detail, all right, because that is the nature of optics. The wider your field of view, the fewer details you have. That is just a characteristic of glass optics. And what the Mandelbulb 3D software is doing, which was quite well done for 13 years ago, it is fairly accurately simulating the behavior of camera optics in digital software. That's pretty good. There are modern graphic engines that are all quite well done that the Mandelbulb 3D software is competing with in terms of the field of view accuracy of the simulation of optical devices. All right, so let's go to 30, a wider, I'm sorry, a 10 was like really wide, a 30. Now I'm going to go to 50. 50. All right, let's just go to 70 so you can kind of see what's happening. Let's go to 90. Now let's really be crazy and let's go 120. All right, you can do some amazing graphical effects with the field of view. And it is a very, very powerful little parameter stuck down there, hidden away in a panel. All right. In my opinion, one of the more powerful settings pertaining to your camera now is hidden away in this panel here. Now, on a more practical basis, 50 would be considered in photography a natural field of view. It's sort of based upon what the human is able to see and be able to understand. We do have peripheral vision, but we don't really understand what's going on out here. We don't really see it. We perceive it. It's all part of our visual system. It helps for orientation and balance and other things. But 50 is sort of where our brain can sort of take most of the scene in, right about at the 50 millimeter field of view. So again, now you can do some amazing things with Mandelbulb by manipulating the field of view. If I was to do a 20, I know that I'm going to get a very wide field of view with fewer detail. All right. If I do a 50 or maybe even a 60, I have a balance between the field of view and detail. You can see I can actually perceive some detail in here, and I can see the pattern. If I had gone all the way back out to 20, I don't really see the pattern anymore. All right, and patterns are quite important with the Mandelbulb. Let's go back to 60. All right, we get some patterns. We get more in view. Let's go to 90. All right, now I'm getting a lot of stuff in there, but now I'm starting to lose the detail now. So if you want like a natural vantage point of view, 50, 60, let's see what 40 does. 40 is not bad. It really depends upon what you're trying to accomplish, but the field of view setting will will set your simulated camera's field of view to wider, less detail, about mid-range. You get a balance between detail and field of view, and very narrow, 80, 90, 100, very narrow. You get distortion going on, and fewer detail. So that's the field of view over on the Navigator, the Mandelbulb 3D software. All right, now in the next session, I want to talk about, let's talk about this camera setting. You're going to find this quite interesting. And then we'll also talk about the far plane, maybe in the next session, maybe the session after that. I don't know. I am not rushing through this tutorial series. I am trying to stop and take the time to address each one of these important functions that are all part of the development of your Mandelbulb graphic and also your Mandelbulb animation. Your animations won't look good unless your still graphics look good. And you take your stills and you create keyframes and you animate those. So the most important thing that you're going to do in any Mandelbulb 3D project is you're going to be developing the graphic. You don't want clipping. You want a good field of view. You want the far plane. All of these things will play into making a really good graphic. And that's what we're trying to do here. All right, so I'll see you in the next session.